Aitah, my cousin dropped me. I guess it's strange how quickly someone can turn into a stranger. One day you're laughing over shared secrets, crying over heartbreaks, calling each other family. And the next, your messages sit unread, your name is gone from their social media. And you're left wondering what crime you committed that was never spoken aloud. That's how it happened with me and my cousin, Rachel. We grew up practically like sisters. Our moms were twins, same voice, same smile, and we spent every summer together. She was 2 years older, the confident one, the wild one who could make friends anywhere. I was quieter, always trailing behind her, trying to keep up with her energy and light. When our grandparents passed away, we clung to each other even harder. Family felt thinner then, fragile, and Rachel was the one person I thought I could never lose. But I was wrong. It started last year. I was 22, fresh out of a bad breakup, and moved to the city for a new job. Rachel already lived there with her fiancé, Ethan, a guy she'd met in college. He was charming, too charming, with the kind of smile that made you doubt its honesty. But she was happy, and that was all that mattered. At least, that's what I told myself. The first red flag came the night I visited their apartment for dinner. Rachel had to take a long work call, leaving me alone with Ethan. He poured me wine, asked about my new job, my breakup, the usual. But then his questions got uncomfortable. He asked if I'd ever regretted not going after him when we were younger, said I looked just like Rachel but quieter, softer. I laughed it off, tried to change the topic, and when Rachel came back, I made an excuse to leave early. I didn't tell her. I should have, but I didn't want to cause drama. She was engaged, happy, and I didn't want to be the cousin who ruined that. Except things started to spiral after that night. Ethan would message me late. Hey, just checking in, or you should come by more often, Rach misses you. When I didn't reply, he'd send things like, you're hard to forget. I blocked him after that. A week later, Rachel texted me, why are you ignoring Ethan? He said you've been weird lately. My heart dropped. I told her the truth, that her fiancé had been inappropriate. She didn't believe me. She said I was jealous, that I'd always wanted her life. That was the last real conversation we ever had. 3 months later, I found out through Instagram that she'd gotten married. A destination wedding in Italy. Everyone in our family was there. Everyone except me. When I confronted my mom, she just sighed. She said she didn't want drama, she told me quietly. She thinks you made it up. I didn't argue. I just nodded, pretending I didn't care. But that night, I cried harder than I had in years. Not because of Ethan. Not even because of Rachel. But because betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people you thought would defend you no matter what. Months passed. I deleted her number, muted her accounts, tried to move on. And then last week, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Rachel. Her voice was shaking. He cheated on me, she said. With one of my friends. I should have listened to you. Silence stretched between us. I wanted to say something. I told you so, maybe. Or I forgive you. But all I could manage was, I'm sorry, Rachel. She started crying. Can we talk? Please? I hesitated. Part of me wanted to comfort her, to be the cousin she once was to me. But another part, the wounded part, remembered every sleepless night, every accusation, every time she erased me from her life to protect a lie. So I told her, quietly, I don't think I can do this again. And I hung up. Now I keep wondering, does that make me the asshole? Because I didn't yell, didn't gloat, didn't punish her. I just let her go. Like she once did to me. Continuation. What Rachel finally told me. 3 months passed after Rachel's call. I didn't answer her texts. Didn't reply to her emails. Every message was just another reminder of everything I'd already lost. But one night, as I was leaving work, I saw her. Standing outside my apartment building in the rain, holding nothing but a small suitcase and a phone pressed to her chest. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. Her once perfect hair was a tangled mess, mascara streaked down her cheeks, and her wedding ring, the diamond she used to flaunt so proudly, was gone. "Please," she said, her voice trembling. "Can I come in?" Against every instinct, I let her. We sat in silence at my kitchen table, two ghosts of the same bloodline, both pretending not to remember the years of silence between us. When she finally spoke, it came out like a confession she'd rehearsed too many times. "I didn't just lose him," she said. "I lost everything." Ethan had drained her savings, had sold her jewelry, lied to her family, and when she confronted him, he didn't deny it. He laughed. Then he told her something that made her physically sick. "You were always the second choice," he said. "You were just easier to control." Rachel looked up at me then, her eyes glassy and haunted. "He was talking about you?" I froze. She took a deep breath. "He said he went after me because you wouldn't fall for him. That he wanted to prove he could make one of us break." I couldn't breathe. My stomach churned. The memory of his words, "You're just like Rachel, but softer," came crashing back, sharper than ever. "He wanted to ruin both of us," she whispered. "And I helped him." The silence that followed was unbearable. I could hear the rain outside, the clock ticking, and the sound of my own heart breaking again. Rachel told me everything then, how he'd isolated her, cut her off from friends, and convinced her that I was the liar, the jealous cousin. He even made her show him our old messages, twisting every word into proof that I was obsessed with her life. It worked. By the time she realized what he was, it was too late. She found out about the affair months ago, one of her closest bridesmaids. But the final blow came when she caught Ethan trying to message me again. "I saw your name on his phone," she said, her voice cracking. "He never deleted your number." I hadn't received a single message, but I didn't tell her that. Maybe he'd typed it and never sent it. Maybe he just liked to keep it there, like a trophy. Rachel reached for my hand then. Her fingers were ice cold. "I'm so sorry, Lily. I destroyed the only person who would have saved me." I wanted to forgive her. I really did. But forgiveness isn't something you can force. It either grows, or it doesn't. And mine was still buried too deep in the wreckage. Still, I let her stay that night. She slept on my couch, crying quietly until she finally passed out. And as I lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, I realized something. I didn't hate her anymore. The next morning, she was gone. No note, no message. Just the empty coffee cup she'd used and a folded photograph on the table. The two of us as kids, holding hands in our grandmother's garden. On the back, she'd written, "You were always my sister." I just forgot for a while. A week later, I got a call from her mother. Rachel had checked herself into a treatment center out of state, for depression and trauma. She didn't want to see anyone, but she'd asked for one thing. For Lily to know I'm getting help. I cried for hours that night. Not because I lost her again, but because maybe this time, it wasn't forever. Months went by, and I started to rebuild my life. Therapy, work, a new apartment. One morning, I got a letter in the mail with no return address. Inside was a single photograph, Rachel, smiling faintly in front of a coastal rehab facility, and a note written in her familiar messy scrawl, "He doesn't get to own either of us anymore. Thank you for letting me remember who I was." I placed the letter beside the old photo on my desk. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel anger, or guilt, or betrayal. Just peace. Because maybe, in the end, we both survived the same man, just in different ways. Final continuation. The past never really ends. 5 years had passed. 5 long, quiet years. Rachel and I hadn't spoken in almost 2. After she left rehab, she moved to another city, got a job at a small art gallery, and tried to rebuild her life. I saw glimpses through social media, rare, filtered photos, a new haircut, a painting exhibition, a cup of coffee with the caption "New Beginnings." I didn't comment. I didn't like or share. But I saw everything. Because a part of me still didn't trust it, didn't trust her, didn't trust that our story had actually ended. And then, one morning, I got an email. No subject line. Just a single message: "He's back. Check your mailbox." My stomach dropped. The sender was a random address, untraceable. But I recognized the writing style immediately. Rachel. I ran downstairs, barefoot, heart pounding, and opened my apartment mailbox. Inside was a small, plain brown envelope. No return address. Inside, 3 photos. The first was of Rachel. She looked different. Older, thinner, scared. It was clearly taken without her knowing. The second was of a man standing outside her gallery. He wore a dark coat, face hidden under a cap, but something about his posture made my hands shake. The third was of me. Taken from across the street, outside my office. No note. No explanation. Just that same familiar sense of dread that I thought I'd buried years ago. Ethan. He wasn't supposed to be around. Last I heard, after Rachel divorced him, Head fled the country to avoid fraud charges. Her lawyer said Head drained more than one woman's accounts, changed his name, vanished. But now he was here, watching us again. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak in my apartment sounded like footsteps. Every car that passed outside made me flinch. I texted Rachel, but her number was disconnected. I called her mom. No answer. I even checked the gallery's Instagram page. The latest post was from 2 weeks ago. A photo of a painting, captioned "Sometimes the past paints itself into your future." It didn't feel like art. It felt like a warning. 2 days later, I got another envelope. This time, it was heavier. Inside was a USB drive and a folded sheet of paper. The note read, "If you're reading this, it means I was right. Don't trust anyone who says they want to help you. Especially him. R." My hands were trembling as I plugged in the drive. It contained several video files, grainy security footage, probably from her gallery's cameras. The first clip showed Rachel closing up for the night, turning off the lights. The second, a man entering through the back door. Ethan. I paused the video, my throat tightening. He looked worse than before. Thinner, older, but that same twisted smirk. In the footage, he walked right up to Rachel, said something I couldn't hear, and she froze. Then he pulled out his phone and showed her something. Her knees buckled. She tried to grab the phone, but he stepped back and said something else, something that made her look straight at the camera. Straight at me. And then the screen went black. That was the last file. I called the police. They said they'd look into it. I called her mother again. This time she picked up, her voice shaking. "Lily," she whispered. "She's gone." I felt the floor tilt beneath me. Gone. She disappeared 2 weeks ago. They found her car near the cliffs. Her purse was inside, but she wasn't. I couldn't speak. Her mother continued through tears. They said she might have jumped. But I don't believe that. Rachel wouldn't. She stopped herself, voice cracking. Not after everything she survived. I didn't know what to say. All I could think of was her last message, "He's back." That night, I packed my bags and drove to her city. I needed to see for myself, the gallery, the apartment, anything. When I got there, the gallery was closed, lights off, windows dusty. But there was something taped to the inside of the glass. A torn piece of paper with 2 words written in Rachel's handwriting. He lied. It's been months since then. Ethan's still missing. No trace, no sightings. The police said he might have left again, but they aren't sure. Sometimes, late at night, I still get those anonymous emails. Just short messages, "He's not done. You need to leave. Don't trust the photos." And the worst one came last week. Attached was a single image, a blurry selfie of me, asleep in my bed. Now I don't know what to believe anymore. Maybe Rachel's alive. Maybe Ethan never left. Maybe betrayal doesn't always end. Maybe it just changes shape, waiting for the right moment to start again. And every time my phone buzzes in the dark, I wonder, is it her? Or is it him? Either way, I know one thing for certain now. Some betrayals don't kill you. They haunt you forever.